All right, so we are about to start working on the assembly drawing now. Uh, Again, we've got all of the part files created and are ready to go to generate and make this assembly drawing. So I'm going to start by going here to the new assembly uh, tab. We'll left click on that and this will open up. Now you're getting a whole different kind of list of menu here as far as our tabs go and our panels. But there are some similarities, and we can still, once we start to place part files, we can still go in through the assembly drawing and make edits and changes to those part files while we're at it as well. So to start the assembly, let's just real quick talk about this. We've got, of course, your File tab, your Symbol tab, the Design tab. We won't really be using these. Here's another 3D model if you need to do some additional drawing. Sketch, Annotate, Inspect. Different tabs that we have here to go. And of course, here in the environments, this is where we would go when we want to start to create a file so that we can 3D print it. But most of the work that you're going to be doing is going to be right here in the assembly tab though. And we always will start with the component panel. Now you'll notice that right now when you first open it up, uh, it probably says place from content center. Content center is a area that you can go to for common parts that you could go to a hardware store to buy. So this would be like springs or screws or threads or threaded screws or bolts, nuts, washers, all of those types of common accessories that you could just go and pick up at the hardware store. Not anything that we're going to use at this level. And we certainly don't need it for what we're doing here because with the joining methods that we're going to use on our clock. You can also sit here and hit the create a component. So if you wanted to add a new part on the fly, you could do it that way. I have not really ever used this too much. I find it's easier for me just to draw parts and then enter those parts in than to kind of do it on the fly here from there. But some people prefer that method. Now, since we're not really going to be using the content center, we will need to hit this drop down menu and just go to place. Now, you'll notice here some of the other tools that we can use is place imported CAD files, place iLogic component, electrical catalog. But for the most part, we're just going to say we're going to place component. As soon as you click that, it goes right to uh, like your desktop or wherever we're pulling from, and it wants, and you, if it doesn't see this, like in this case, mine's going right to my clock folder, but that's because I'm on the hard drive of my laptop. For you guys, you're going to basically have all of these part files saved on the desktop, and you're going to need to get through and do those. So, and you're going to navigate through the desktop for all of this while we're doing it. Now, the first piece that I want to go, and you'll see I've got a list of a bunch of different parts. I've drawn this several times before, so just to kind of show you some of the things that I've done in the past. I'm going to start with the bottom part. So the bottom part there, and we're going to place that into the screen. So I'm going to select the bottom, and then I'm going to hit open over here. So let me move this out, and it will come in, and I'll start to see it. Now, notice the way it is oriented and comes in. This is okay, but I don't like it myself. I like to have the isometric view. So I'm going to click that home button just so I can get a better chance. Now, this is where those of you with fast trigger fingers are going to probably get into some trouble. So I can just kind of click and place this. So I just left click and I'll left click again, and I can place this a bunch of times. So I don't, then I will right click and hit OK to get out of that placement. Now, you don't want to do this for the first, because notice right now, if I put my cursor over the part and I push and hold the left mouse button, notice how these move around. We don't want these to move around on us. So that's going to cause us all sorts of problems when we go to mate and do constraints to kind of assemble all of these parts together. So I'm going to just kind of click on here, then I'll right click, I'm going to delete that part out, and I'm going to right click and delete this part out as well. I'm going to bring that in and show you the correct way that, or the thing that you want to do on the first piece that you bring in. So let me go back and I'm going to place that. It's going to be the same piece, the bottom piece, but there's something else I got to do. So I'll hit open. Now, notice it's moving. So and when I place this, I don't want to left click. I want to hit the right click button first. And you'll see here, I can kind of rotate that piece around depending on what my view. We'll get into that on a couple of the other pieces later when we bring those in. But the one that you want to do and that's most important right here on this first piece is this place grounded at origin. So I'm going to left click on that and I'm going to place that grounded at origin. Now it comes in. Notice I can still go ahead and place a second piece if I want, but I don't. So I'm going to right click and hit OK. Now notice my mouse is over here and I'm moving it, but notice when I grab the piece here now, I cannot move that. So I have locked that in. I have eliminated all what we refer to as degrees of freedom, and I'm going to talk more about degrees of freedom here shortly. So because we've got to lock in these degrees of freedom and prevent movement on it. Now, all of the other parts that we want them to kind of move, but we're going to fix those to this piece so that they don't move from there. Um, so that's the start of this assembly drawing, and that's what we need to do here when we are first assembling the part files into our assembly drawing. That very first piece, the one that makes the most sense, the one that's most logical as far as placement, we want to bring that in and we want to fix that at the origin point so that it won't move on us.